A very warm welcome to IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 13. I'm Ritwika Gupta. Tonight we put a spotlight on consumer wellness and the broader FMCG space. As India stakes its claim as a global growth engine, few sectors are evolving as rapidly or as impactfully as wellness and nutrition. To understand shifting consumer demands in this space and opportunities for MSMEs in India's FMCG sector, I'll be in conversation tonight with Tarun Arora, CEO of Zydus Wellness. He'll be sharing insights on leveraging India's economic momentum and building trust in a digital-first world. Welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow, Tarun. It's a pleasure having you today.
It's my pleasure and privilege to be a part of your show and eating up. Thank you.
Now, starting with the big picture, India is increasingly seen as a resilient, high-potential economy. What unique strengths must we double down on to lead globally in this decade?
I personally believe that the strength of Indian economy is the high consumption situation. We have a fairly good private consumption economy and strengthened by a good agri support and manufacturing. So I think if we continue to build further on this, what I like about government focusing on supply side by building a stronger manufacturing base, it increases employment. It increases the multiplier and eventually it will lead to better incomes and hence further increase the consumption economy. So personally, I think that's one of the biggest strengths of Indian economy. India does need a stronger export build up, which also will work once we get a stronger manufacturing-led economy, which produces goods at global scale,
right,
and gets in a much better incomes from international markets also, which will flow down to the Indian consumers and will further expand the consumption base, as I see it.
Now, the theme for our show this season is agility, ambition, ascent. With global economic volatility, shifting alliances, rising tariffs, and all that's happening around the world, how can Indian businesses become more geopolitically aware and strategically independent?
It's an interesting situation which is developing. While India opens its doors, wants to be playing a larger role in the global scheme of things and geopolitical framework, India wants to participate.
Right.
It's getting more and more a larger amount of protectionism that we see from various countries across the world. And therefore, to get this right from a global perspective, to expand businesses beyond the Indian boundaries, businesses have to become more aware of the geopolitical challenges that play out. They have to build more resilient value chains, not just supply chains, the whole value chain, and have to think two steps forward in terms of how to be able to add value to those businesses when you're playing those markets to be able to make a difference. Let me take an example. So India, for example, has already been a strong player in the pharmacy, but today in the pharma, and it's called the pharma support to the global economy. But if India wants to be tomorrow playing the role of a food basket of the world and wants to influence a lot more in terms of making the food products available to global consumers, it's good to export food to Indian diaspora in some of the developed markets. But real power for Indian businesses will come when we are able to play, what is relevant locally in each of the markets. And what will be therefore important is that Indian companies learn how to innovate for each of those markets. So if we decide to play Europe or US or even Africa, I can't imagine that I will be, playing to what I do in India. I'll have to build around what is the local requirements of those markets, innovate,
Sure.
provide better products, quality products which are consistent and to their tastes and nutritional expectations. So therefore, to be a serious global player, um, the Indian businesses will have to learn the to play by the local requirements for both geopolitical, economic, and environment that plays. Innovate for the markets and build value chains, supply chains which are global in nature, are resilient. Those are, I would say, the big critical items for us to succeed
Right.
in this future world where India can play a much larger role in this new world.
Tarun, how would you say consumer behavior is evolving in wellness and nutrition? What new demand trends are you seeing across India's diverse markets?
I think there are certain trends which have started building up over last decade or so, and last 4 5 years they become far more, pronounced. I would say post-COVID. Some of them are the fact that earlier food was food, and over last several years people started looking what is inside the food, what is the nutrition. People read the labels, people look at how much of carbs, how much of proteins, what are the micronutrients, what does it do, how does it help me lead a better life. So there is obviously the overarching view on the taste of the food or any products that you buy, but you're also concerned about uh, really what are you buying and what does it do to me. And therefore, the importance of what is inside and am I consuming the right product and how will it help me live a better life, better quality of life has become important. So people are moving from a reactive, when I have a problem, I'll take medicine, to leading a more proactive life towards health and wellness.
Sure.
So clearly, I think health and wellness is becoming a way of life and not something which existed outside. And therefore, there are several sub-trends, if I were to talk about. The focus on protein, I just mentioned, for example, focus on macro and micronutrients. So protein has become a big, focus. Controlling sugar that I consume every day, it's become a big focus. How much immunity and how much goodness that a product does to me has become an importance. The calorie consciousness. So one side, people want more energy, they're getting stretched, but they're also looking at how can I have more energy from what I do every day. So there are multiple trends that are playing out, and therefore, suddenly there is a lot more focus on well-being and nutrition. And therefore, health and wellness story is it just started. I think it's going to become even bigger in coming years as we see.
Right, and well, now with e-commerce and D2C gaining ground, how is Zydus Wellness adapting its digital strategy to stay ahead of consumer expectations?
Consumers are today getting more and more digital savvy. So I remember a few years back, while digital was growing, one of the studies showed that it's not the penetration of digital shoppers that was going up. It is their size of the baskets which was driving the growth in digital commerce or e-commerce. But in last couple of years, we've seen a complete expansion of number of consumers who are coming and shopping online, for driven by a lot of factors. For FMCG and our kind of space, of course, quick commerce has played, but it's not restricted to FMCG. It's going into other spaces as well. So quick commerce has played a substantial role. Government is trying to do ONDC and several other factors.
Absolutely.
If I were to give you Zydus Wellness's own experience, online business used to be contributing to almost 1% of our business about 6 years back, 2019-20. Currently, it's more than 10 to 11%. So on a larger base, which is almost 50 to 60% higher than that time of business, today we are doing 10% of the business. So it has disproportionately grown for Zydus Wellness. And that's true for India, for Zydus Wellness. And it's true globally also. There is a lot more shift that is happening. And while this is largely driven by platforms like Amazon, Flipkart, and several other players in India and abroad, and quick commerce players, but also important thing is that D2C is playing a role of better consumer interactions, better consumer engagements, where consumer can experience those products in detail if they want to get into. But lot more shopping happening through the platforms.
It's time for a quick break here. We'll be back shortly. Stay tuned. Welcome back to IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 13. In conversation tonight with Tarun Arora, CEO of Zydus Wellness, on what it takes to lead with trust, innovation and digital agility in today's India. Now, Tarun, wellness is no longer niche. It is mainstream. Tell us, how can MSMEs and smaller players in the FMCG sector innovate for both scale and depth?
So the interesting thing is, earlier when you were in FMCG, the biggest challenge for a new player, there was almost an entry barrier because you needed a significant distribution in general trade to make an impact, to build a business. Today, it is much easier to scale up. So let's look at it. There is online space plus about 10-11%. There is another 12-13% coming from modern trade.
Yep.
So if I look at it, organized trade is 23-24% of the business, almost a quarter of our business. So if a new player comes in, what is happening is that they don't need to go through a traditional way of saying that I need 200 people, 500 people to distribute my products. I need to advertise on TV. Today, you can choose very sharp markets. I want to be available in this state, this city, or this kind of cities. Innovate specifically for those requirements, those kind of consumers. Do a fulfillment process through online or sharp targeted organized trade and make a sizable business out of it. Because with the size coming for these online and organized trade, it is now really possible for small players to bring in their innovations and scale up pretty leveraging these platforms, the online platforms, and some of the organized banners as well. So I think the world is quite the entry barriers are reducing because of this, and therefore new formats, new innovations are coming to consumers, and they are spoiled for choice. It is a pressure back on larger organizations, including us, to innovate and compete better and to more agile, to younger, smaller players who can now scale up at a much faster pace and respond to market trends much faster. So we'll also have to shorten our innovation cycles, have a shorter learning curves, and respond much faster to ever-changing consumer needs.
Sure. And tell us, what are some of the key challenges in building trust and credibility in consumer health categories, especially in the cluttered online space?
Look, the online world is very, should I say, democratized. Consumers read the reviews, they go through what is being told. So your brand name gives you only a license to that there is a certain trust involved, there is a certain legacy involved. But beyond that, the consumers online are, should I say, I won't say transactional, but they are far more open, and they are not dependent upon one loyalty because they've had they've been buying it for 20 years. They're open to exploration, and they are looking at reading your reviews. So to build online trust and is delivered through a consistency of service and quality. I think nothing beats that because consumers will value if what they were promised is what is delivered to them, and that's when they will review back and give you a positive feedback. That's one.
Sure.
Secondly, I think it's also important because when you deliver to a certain level to an online consumer, it becomes a hygiene. It becomes like it is expected. So you have to constantly raise the bar, innovate more, provide better products, consistent quality, so that they can constantly look at you for meeting their evolving needs as well. So I think I would say good quality, consistent delivery, better customer service, and a faster innovation should help build the trust and confidence for the online consumers in today's world. And it is, while I'm talking from a context of consumer health, but I think it's true for most categories in this world that's happening today.
Absolutely. Now, well, India's tier 2 and 3 cities are fast becoming consumption powerhouses. How are you tailoring your offerings for these high growth markets?
India was always, this 30-70 situation. 30% of the urban population used to amount to be accountable for 70% of the consumption in a pure play FMCG or branded products world. Now, as India's economy is growing much faster, the disposable incomes are increasing, and a better quality of life is not just the preserve of top cities, but uh, the small towns are also getting same kind of experiences. Fact is, media is a great leveler. Today, consumers are sitting in a Delhi, Bombay, or they're sitting in a 20,000 population town in UP, Bihar, or Karnataka. They have the same aspiration because they're seeing the same media. They're expecting a similar kind of products and quality and needs. They have a similar set of needs. They all aspire to lead a better life in the future. And therefore, one has to be able to take same high quality products to the consumers in tier 2, tier 3 towns, even in rural. It's just that uh, the size of the market may vary, and therefore it is very, very important for us to be able to have the right pack price architecture which suits different market requirements. So there may be a heavy consumer who may be buying large packs of a same product, say a Complan for us in a bigger market, may be buying a 200-gram pack
Right.
in tier 2 or tier 3 town. But they will not expect anything less than what I am delivering to the rest of the consumers. For us, therefore, the way to access the market in tier 2, tier 3 towns or rural is that Zydus Wellness should have more access points, more distribution, and better communication for these markets with the right pack price architecture. So I should have the right SKUs which I can take to them and service them on a consistent basis. And one of the things that we're doing is our distribution expansion in tier 2 is focused on tier 2, tier 3 towns. In fact, Zydus Wellness products are available in about 3 million outlets, 2.9 to be more precise, as reported by Nielsen. Half of them are rural. So almost 14 and a half lakh outlets that keep Zydus Wellness product are in rural India and rest are in the urban India. So we do recognize while the share of business is much smaller in rural and tier 2, tier 3 towns, but the reach is very crucial, and therefore we are continuously focusing on expanding the reach, have the right products, and embrace these consumers who are willing to spend and have better products to improve their lifestyle.
Absolutely. Tarun, our show is watched by a lot of young entrepreneurs, startup founders, MSME owners. Before I let you go, tell us finally, what is that mindset shift do you believe today's business leaders must adopt to build resilient, ethical, and globally competitive organizations?
Some of the things that you mentioned, I think, and I'll speak from a consumer health FMCG perspective, though it applies to everywhere. I think a business which is focused on the consumer is the starting point. If you believe that you want to give a consistent, good quality customer service to your end consumers, I think that should be the central to every business, because I've realized that no matter what you do for any other stakeholder, if the customer is not satisfied, your business will not do well. So that's the first starting point in my book, that if we have to be successful in India or globally, in whichever way, whether MSME or a large corporation, you have to start with the consumer in mind. Second is be ethical and consistent in your delivery to what you commit, being authentic. I think these are things that cannot be just a lip service. Consumers are watching and evaluating you every day. So if you're authentic, you're ethical in your ways, they happily embrace you.
Right.
Third, I would say is innovation is very, very crucial. Fact is that the market is changing fairly fast, and therefore you have to innovate to stay ahead of the curve. Otherwise, with just launching another Me Too product, there is going to be a challenge. So innovation is crucial. It's true for consumer businesses. It's true for technology businesses. So innovation would be the next thing that comes to my mind.
Sure.
And of course, I don't need to tell entrepreneurs, but having a vision, having a plan to reach a certain level will obviously be their North Star, will be their guiding. Where do they want to play? Who's their consumer? Defining those and playing for it. Whether you want to be a big player only in India or globally, and building your products and businesses around those. So those are some of the quick thoughts that come to my mind.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Tarun. It was lovely speaking with you.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.
With that, it's a wrap on this edition of IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 13. We hope you enjoyed the conversation. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.